the Trump event happened July 13th, 2024. That's 748. And it reminded me of an event that happened last summer in the Quad Cities in the United States, and it was a bridge explosion. The bridge explosion happened on Father's Day last year, and the date reduced to 784, and the time that the bridge exploded was 784. And this happened right around the time of the Titan sub disaster. This event was known as Ocean Gate. This year we had Kate Gate, which also happened around the same time as a bridge collapse in Baltimore, and the date of that event reduces to 384. And on June 16th of this year, 2024, Princess Catherine took a photograph of Prince William and the children on Father's Day that was also a bit cryptic. And at the same time of Donald Trump's attempted assassination, Princess Catherine appeared at Wimbledon wearing purple.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
The bullet grazed Donald Trump's right ear, and there are several meanings you can attribute to ear of corn. Caesar, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Listen up, listen to what I have to say, which I think this is a message to say, listen, pay attention, listen up, lend me your ears. He was shot in the ear, which is earshot. When you're within earshot, you can overhear a conversation. And when Trump was shot, you could overhear what he was saying because he still had his mic on. He was concerned about his shoes, and he was concerned about taking a moment to throw his fist in the air in an act of defiance and call out the words fight. Him putting his fist in the air is like an act of rebellion. It is a symbol of rebellion, which reminds me of the French Revolution. Also behind him was the American flag, but it was at a 90-degree angle, and it looked like it was pointing down in between two cranes. So cranes represent the brain, the two hemispheres of the brain. Donald Trump is in the middle. He's standing on the stage. Behind him is the crowd, the audience, and he's in the middle of a theater. He's the center of the show. He is in the spotlight, and all eyes are on him. His name is Donald John Trump. Donald is world mighty ruler of the world. It's also deep, hollow, bottom, foundation, earth, world, sea deep. This connects him to Johnny Depp, which is why Johnny Depp played Donald Trump. So Donald J, DJ, disc jockey, he spins the wheel. He's the wheel turner. John comes from the Latin word Joannes or Ioannes. Oannes was the ocean god, which ties back to Ocean Gate, and it's also the word for toilet, prostitute's customer, or policeman. His last name is Trump, which is also triumph, trumpet, horn, trump card, to surpass, to beat, false, deceive, as in trumped up, and he just recently came out of a trial based on trumped up charges, and he's also acting the fool. So Donald Trump is known for being orange and loud, obnoxious. He's a loud, brassy organ, a mouth organ. So that's why he's a trumpet. So the trumpet is also the water spout. So he represents the vortex. The trumpet is the horn, is the vortex. The horn is also the pineal. This event took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. The man in charge of the house. He's the man in charge of the servants of the house. But technically, the meaning of the word butler is a wine bottle or a wine vessel or a charge of wine. He's typically in charge of the wine. Wine represents the blood, according to the Bible. It's symbolic of the blood. And in the Bible, there's a passage in Matthew 9:17, don't pour new wine into old wineskins, pour into new wineskins, and both are preserved. What this means is when your blood is anew, because you have risen into Christ consciousness, your blood changes. So you don't want to put the wine or the blood into the old body, the vessel. You want a new vessel. When we think of blood in the Bible, we refer to alchemy, turning water into wine, which is elevating.
It's you, it's the physical. Okay, to water, which is truth and consciousness. To wine, which is also regarded or described in the scriptures as fire and spirit. And that's basically the equation that holds. And it's an extremely important thing. And when you get through the allegorical and parabolic types of references, it's extremely important because it talks of something that goes on right here, inside of you. That's what's so important about it. All the rest are just words, and they describe things, but the consistency of the stories flow from the beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible. It all comes exactly the same, and it all is telling the same thing. If you touch a certain part of the physical makeup of your brain, something will happen.
Bill Donahue shows that turning water into wine is equivalent to being touched by the Spirit, baptism by fire. This elevates your consciousness, water, into the higher mind, spirit, wine, but the vessel must change in order for this to take place, and that change happens through meditation.
So now you got two instances there. Now, what happened? The first instance, Jacob rolled the stone back and the water came. Here's the second instance. God says, touch the stone and the water will come. Basically, the pineal gland is the stone, and you're being said, touch it and the truth will flow. Doctors, we've got articles from the New York Times back there saying, if you touch this thing, melatonin will flow.
It's also a reference to a process of destruction taking place until we become new, which is a transformation. America is going through a process of transformation, which is why the flag was facing down in the middle. The process of alchemical transformation is what happens when the Kundalini connection is made. It turns our water into wine. This is done when the finger of God meets the finger of Adam. Aquarius is the house of the water bearer, the butler. He pours the water or the wine. Aquarius is a servant of the king who is trusted with pouring and offering his wine. So Trump is the water bearer, Aquarius, or Uranus masquerading as Saturn, the ruler of the house. This event took place in the Quad, which is the four-leaf clover, Mount Meru headquarters. The Quad Cities bridged Iowa and Illinois over the Mississippi River, which is the cerebral spinal fluid. And the explosion of the Twin Peaks Bridge turns two into one. Trump's head is also the shape of these two states, and the location of the Quad Cities is right in the center or ear of the head. Pennsylvania means Penn's woods. So Penn means head. So woods in the head. I think that the woods represents the brain. The labyrinth, out of the woods, into the woods. The woods is like all the trees are the various stories that we tell ourselves. And while we're in the woods, we're lost. We can't see the forest for the trees. So we're lost in 3D consciousness because we're running around the woods trying to get out, but you don't even know you're in a forest until you're out of the woods. So we are trying to get out of the labyrinth, which is the mind maze. And you can only do that when you get out of 3D consciousness. Princess Catherine said she wasn't out of the woods yet. In the previous two public appearances, she was wearing black and white was showing that she was in the middle. Her appearance at Wimbledon shows that she got her crown because now she's wearing purple, and purple's the symbol of royalty. Wimbledon means Windman's Hill, and Win means friend, fair, white, or holy or blessed. Fair as in my fair lady. Holy, she's crowned whole, holy. Trump was shot at 6:11 p.m., which is 9/11 upside down and backwards, mirrored. 6:11 p.m. is also 1811, which is also 9/11.
Yeah, look, there he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals, We have
Come up
criminals.
here. He's
We
on
have
the roof. He's
drug
right
dealers. We have people that
Right
should not be
here,
here.
right on the
And
roof.
it's much
He's
tougher
standing
than
up now.
it happens.
He went right on the roof again.
The shooter's name was Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thomas means twin, so who's he a twin of? And Matthew means gift of God. And Crooks. Crooks means hook. And that means a dishonest trick, a cane, or a shepherd's crook. He's there to trick the masses as a twin, a double. He's a double for someone else. He's taking someone's place. He's a dummy. He's not the actual shooter. He's there as a distraction. And he's there to herd the sheep. So anybody who believes the official story and thinks that he is legitimate, they will be shepherded. And he was from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Bethel is the house of God. Thomas Matthew Crook is the twin of Matthew or Aquarius. He rose up the ladder in the middle pillar, Jacob's ladder, up to the roof or the head on top of the building number 12, which represents the 12 signs of the zodiac or the 12 cranial nerves of the brain. 12 is also 3 or the Trinity. Trump's major platform is MAGA, Make America Great Again. MAGA is the divine feminine, magnetic. One of the other victims of the event was a firefighter, and his name was Corey Comparator. Corey refers to the heart. Heart is courage. And the fireman is being called a hero. Comparator means to purchase or buy. You could say that it means to buy this story. And CC 33, or Christ Consciousness, Cancer Capricorn. He was a fireman from Buffalo. Buffalo is the bull, the Taurus. While I'm doing this, I notice Corey Comparator comes from Buffalo, which is bull or Taurus, which is earth. Donald Trump represents water because he's the water bearer or the Aquarius. And Thomas Crooks is the fire. He's Leo. I can't really find anyone who represents Scorpio, the air sign. So I think it might be America because it represents the eagle. There was a story on the internet about him, and someone close to him said he was a man of conviction. And he was also called a stand-up guy, and he stood up for what he believed in, and he never backed down. And to stand up requires the use of one's spine. And there are 33 vertebrae of the spine, or CC. Also, there was a picture released by his fire station of his uniform standing up against the wall in the middle, and on either side the doors were open. So you could say he was standing up against the wall, and it looked like he was invisible. So once again, another emphasis on stand up. He was killed, possibly meaning that there's no Christos oil in the lamp, because he's a firefighter. He puts out fires. But in order to rise, we must let the fire devour us. Baptism by fire. This is why Trump's signs say, "You're fired." His Twitter account had a picture of a dog taking a dump, and his last tweet was interacting with another account called Cat Turd. This to me shows that his whole account is a joke. This man does not exist. So once again, this event is an enactment of the raising of the Kundalini energy to the head. 911 is the Christ, IXXI, the Emerge and See. Corey Comparator represents CC, Christ Consciousness. 33, Trump's signs said, "You're fired." "You're fired" is a reference to the Spirit, turning water into wine, rising into Christ Consciousness, baptism by fire, the lightning bolt to the head, the atomic explosion in the head, the Kundalini connection, or the finger of God touching the finger of Adam, Atom, Mars, Thomas. In the center is Trump on the red square. He's the center stage. He's the focal point. All eyes are on him. It happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Another quad city cube, man on the cross, man inside the cube. The butler is the man in charge of the house. Donald is the ruler of the world, the house, the man who pours the wine, Aquarius. Trump is the man on stage putting on the show. He's the president. He's the man in charge. Trump is trumpet, the water spout. John is the toilet, the hole in the head. He was shot in the ear because the ear is the corn, or the horn is the pineal. Donald Trump's profile is that of the bird in the brain. So are the two states of Iowa and Illinois, joined by the Quad Cities. The Quad Cities represent man's fourfold nature, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, also known as the four signs of the zodiac, on the wheel, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. This makes the wheel of the swastika, the twin peaks of the I-74, the 911 bridge, was blown up at 7/8/4 on Father's Day because when the lightning strikes the pineal, it kills time, and we and the Father are one.